Welcome to the weekly Torah Power Up in less than 10 minutes, based on the teachings and wisdom of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, brought to you by Chabad of Nebraska. The Jewish people are wandering in the desert for 40 years, and you'd think that they're paupers and they couldn't afford anything, but actually many Jews were quite rich. There are many stories about it, and many significant people throughout the history that were very wealthy, and interesting stories of how they acquired such wealth. One of those people is actually the great leader of the Jewish people, Moses. He is quite a wealthy man in the desert. Now, your eyebrows are raised and you're trying to figure out, isn't it a little concerning or a little strange that the leader of the Jewish people, the community person, is so wealthy? Where did he acquire money? Isn't it a little questionable? And we will answer that question in this week's Torah Power Up. Now, let's talk a little bit to get to the answer about the tablets. Tablets that God gave Moses on Mount Sinai. Moses at one point comes to God and says, listen, these Jews, all they do is make me crazy. Anytime I tell them anything, they complain and they have nothing good to say. They're giving me a crazy headache. God says, take 2 tablets and come back to me in the morning. Now, funny enough, there weren't only 2 tablets. There were actually 4 tablets. 4 tablets that Moses got from God. And we'll talk a little bit now about those 4 tablets, and that will really explain and put a little perspective on things. The reason there were 4 tablets was because when God gives Moses the first 2 tablets, the Jews immediately, as soon as they got the tablets, within 2 months, transgressed the first 2 commandments on the tablets. The most significant commandments on the tablets, they grievously transgressed. They committed idolatry. Terrible. The worst thing that could be done. Of all of the transgressions that could be done in the Torah, idolatry is the worst. It's one of the ones where you let yourself be killed rather than committing such a sin. It's one of those things where it can never be transgressed. It is never permissible. Other ones have times where maybe you can. Idolatry is the worst. And the Jews committed idolatry within 2 months, 40 days of when they received the Torah. Quite strange. Now, Moses was up on the mountain when this occurred. He comes down and he sees what happens, and he destroys the tablets that he was holding from God. Terrible, terrible thing. Idolatry. He had to destroy the tablets. However, God now wants to destroy the Jewish people. I gave you a Torah. Within 40 days, you're not even following it. I don't need you. But Moses did not allow it. Moses fought God on it. He would not allow the Jewish people to be destroyed. Even though he was offered something quite amazing. God says, I'll destroy the Jewish people, and I'll make a new Jewish people, all descending from you. You will be the father of the Jewish people. And Moses says, I will not accept such a deal. No deal. I will not take it. The Jewish people of now, I am their leader, and if I'm their leader, I must fight for them. And Moses convinces God to forgive the Jewish people, and God does. The Jewish people, whoever is left, repents, and they come back to God, and the rest is history. However, now, there are no more tablets. So God gives Moses a new set of tablets, but doesn't just give it to him. Now something a little bit different happens. The first time, the tablets are created by God up on high and given to Moses, brought down from Mount Sinai. This time, God says they have to come from down. And God tells Moses where to find a special stash in the desert of sapphires. The tablets are made of the precious gem, sapphire, bluish hue. If you've ever seen in any synagogue or any place where they try to replicate the tablets, they should be square and they should be blue looking, because that is what the tablets were made of, and some other amazing things that the other amazing properties the tablets had. But the tablets had to be created down here. God tells Moses where to find some sapphire, and he hews the tablets, the new tablets, out of sapphire. Exact replicas of the originals, but now made by Moses. And the leftovers of this sapphire now belong to Moses. This is where Moses becomes rich. Now, why did the sapphire go to Moses? Very interesting point. The reason why the second tablets even existed was because Moses fought for the Jewish people. He was a consummate leader who said, I am not accepting the ultimate destruction of the Jewish people. I am fighting for them. So after fighting for the Jewish people, Moses is given permission by God to create new tablets, which brings us to a very, very important point. And this is kind of the lesson that we learn from this whole story, is the tablets that Moses got are now technically of lesser value than the original ones. They're made by Moses. They're not made by God. They're made by a human being, a great human being, perhaps the greatest human being who ever lived, but still a human being. And that human being is nothing compared to God creating the tablets, the original tablets, completely on his own. Now, you lose when you do something wrong, when you do something bad, when you commit a sin, or something bad happens, when something unwanted happens, it doesn't go the way you want. The original tablets are gone. They don't exist anymore. However, we never take what happens, whether or not we committed it or it happened from the things that are going around us, happening around us, we never let that stop us. It's like an eagle or a bird that's flying and there's a storm coming and the winds are pushing it away, are pushing it back. So it can go run away or cower to the winds, or it can take those winds and use it to float with the wind, to fly with the wind, use the wind to push it up higher. And that's what Moses did. That's what the Jewish people did at that time. They used the bad thing that happened, the terrible sin they had committed, brought them to actually a place where they couldn't have reached otherwise. And specifically for Moses. Moses, with this Torah, with the second tablets, was told by God where to find the special sapphire stones, and was able to keep the leftovers. As well as with the second tablets came with certain parts of the Torah which were not revealed in the original giving of the Torah. Certain special esoterical parts of the Torah which were only given to Moses. Moses then hands them over to the Jewish people. So additions to the Torah were made in that second giving. That could only occur with the Jewish people recognizing the terrible thing they had done and then embracing it and saying, I will do better, I will fix it, I will bring myself to a better place. And this is a very, very important lesson. Moses gained physical wealth as well as spiritual additions to the Torah through the second tablets, which only came about because the Jews had sinned. But if you take that sin and you take the terrible thing and you take the bad things that are going on around you, whether, again, done by you or whether done by anybody else or whether brought around by God, if you take things around you which seem bad and you use them for the right things, you can actually attain a higher level. Sure, you won't be in the same place that you maybe were before. You won't be in the happier place that you could have been. However, you could attain a place where you could not have reached before. There's a saying in the Talmud that the spot that people who are repenting, who have done repentance for sins they had done, reach a higher level than even the most righteous people can ever reach. And that's a very important lesson for especially the times that we're in. Stressful things may be going on around you, but if we embrace those things and say that that can't stop us, we're going to still let it make us stronger, is the very strong lesson we get from Moses this week, which can bring us physical, emotional, and spiritual wealth, which we may not have attained otherwise. Have a wonderful Shabbos.